Hello, everybody. Welcome. I see folks coming in. Hello, hello. Welcome. Welcome back to STEP if you've been in our past webinars. And if this is your first one, welcome to STEP. So we're going to go ahead and get started. We'll start it off with our midpoint survey. If you have interacted with STEP in any form, whether you've looked at our recordings or the recaps, the YouTube video, or looked at the notes, or you're here right now, you have interacted with STEP. So this survey is going to close this Friday. So we will pick some winners who will get a UCSD sweater or a hat or a set of AirPods. So yes, definitely make sure that you have your, that you fill out the survey, and that will be in the chat, and that will come up in the chat for you so that you can have that. Transfers talks. So you are at a transfer talk, and what this is that this is basically a virtual workshop that we offer throughout the summer. We're kind of like through the halfway point of transfer talks, but we have plenty of other webinars soon. And all of these workshops have different topics, including parking and transportation, how to pay your bills, and more. So we have them recorded, but we are also going to have some more throughout the summer. All right, and Transfers Connect. So our Transfers Connect is a little different to our our virtual webinars in that they're a little bit more social focused. So it's not so much informational, but if you want to meet other transfer students in whether it's on Zoom or in person, highly recommend. We have one coming up at the end of August, August 21st, which is in person, and one virtual as well. All right, and so looking ahead, we have a great lineup for some webinars that are coming up. On Friday, we will have a webinar on how to connect with UCSD professors. On the 30th, we will have how to pay your bills at UCSD. So we have some great folks that are going to talk about bills and where to pay them, where to see what you owe, and all that good stuff. And then on August 1st, we will have a panel from transfer students who are researchers or were researchers when they were at UCSD. So we have some great stuff going on. Research and involvement. So I'm the research and involvement coordinator at the Triton Transfer Hub. My name is Elizabeth, and definitely if you had questions on how to get involved in research, where to get started, or in preparation for the school year, definitely look out for the research and involvement. Those are on Fridays from 12 to 1. So yeah, these are great opportunities. And then the Transfer Success Series. Ali, did you want to say hi and talk a little bit about the series?
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Ali Shanley, and I am the transfer retention specialist within the Transfer Hub. And I will be hosting a transfer success series more towards the end of summer, which is very timely as you kind of gear up for classes starting. But my main focus in my role is supporting you academically, whether that be understanding different policies around classes or best tips for adjusting to the quarter system. I myself was a transfer student who went from semesters to quarters, so I know it can be a big change, but I'm really excited to welcome you all and really excited for you to start your journey at UCSD. So some of the topics I'll be discussing is that transferable success, so kind of leveraging the skills that you've used maybe at your community college or previous institution and how to make use of those at UCSD. And then I'll also be working with our CAPS liaison, Haley, who really specializes in mental health support at UCSD, and we'll be kind of going over academic wellness strategies and things like that. So really excited, and also really excited for you to meet some of our amazing deans today because they definitely have a lot of helpful info as well. But I'll pass it back to Elizabeth, and then we'll get started.
All right, thank you so much. Yeah, so if any of this sounds interesting, right, make sure that you are registered for STEP so that you can get the emails and reminders on all these great opportunities that we have coming up for the rest of the summer. Okay, so today's topic is how your college can support you at UC San Diego. That's it for this presentation. I'm going to do a little switch, but yes, we have some great deans that are joining us here today, and I'm just going to take a second to switch my screens to this one. And with that, I will hand it over to Josh and Sherry for their presentation.
Thanks so much, Elizabeth. It's great to be here with you all. Hi, everyone. My name is Josh Brimmeyer. I use the he, him series pronouns, and I serve as the Dean of Student Affairs at 7th College. Fun fact, I was also a transfer student myself, so I know exactly where you're at right now, and you're one of my favorite populations of students to work with. And I'll turn it over to Sherry to introduce herself.
Welcome, everyone. Sherry Mallory, she, her pronouns, and I'm the Dean of Student Affairs at Revelle College.
All right, so we're going to talk about a little bit about our session overview so you have an idea of what we're going to be discussing today and ensuring that we're all on the same page. So we're going to do a college overview today. We're going to talk a little bit about what is a college at UC San Diego. We're going to talk a little bit about student affairs in the colleges. We're going to have a conversation around the opportunities to get involved, to make your college your home. We're going to talk a lot about the beginning of the year because that's the stuff that's most timely for you right now. So orientation is a big part of your welcome to campus, along with our Triton Weeks of Welcome, which are a lot of the activities and events that we have scheduled for you to help you acclimate to UCSD and learn more about the university and your college. And then also week 0 was something that sometimes is a new concept for some students, so we're going to cover that as well. We're also going to talk a little bit more about staying in touch with the university and with students. So you can talk with how we communicate. We're going to talk about our newsletters, things like that. We'll cover how your Dean of Student Affairs can support you and move forward. And we can move the next slide. That would be really helpful. Perfect. Thank you. We'll also talk about how you get in touch with your Dean of Student Affairs and the folks at your college so you can make sure you have all the support you need. And then we'll also take some questions and answers at the end so that we can make sure you're getting the best information possible. All right, our next slide. I want to also just start off by talking a little bit about what we're not going to cover today so that you are prepared for that as well. So we won't be discussing our general education requirements. We won't be answering any of the advising questions. But if you do want to learn more about those things, first of all, there are some stuff right here for you. So you can always go through the back to answer your questions. The new Triton advising is available. That was available beginning on, I believe it's June 18th. So you can go in there on the back and ask your virtual advising questions there. You can also check out the other STEP presentations that have already been done and are on the step.ucsd.edu website. I believe they already had an academic advising session. And I believe there's some more advising stuff coming up in the future as well. And thank you, Sherry, for dropping that link in there. Also today, we will not be talking about that advising piece, but we do want to make sure you know how to connect with your advisor there. So that link is in there for you as well. And moving on to the next slide, if you have questions about submitting your AGETC or your transcripts, you can do that as well via the link here and learn more there. So just want to make sure that you know what you're getting into today and make sure that we're giving you reasonable expectations for the rest of the session. So talking a little bit more about the colleges. So each college has some core components that is very much fundamental to each of the colleges. So everyone has their own unique GE requirements, and these reflect the mission of the college. So each college's theme is a little bit different. 7th College is focused on preparing students for the challenges of a changing planet. Each college has a different philosophy around that, and so with that in mind, 7th College is very flexible on its GEs. Others have more rigorous standards and more tighter condensed requirements that are really important as well. Each college features their own residence hall or apartments. They're coordinated by our residential life team. This is a really great feature of the college. Think of it as your home base. I love to think of your college as your home base at UCSD. We take this very large university and we make it much smaller, break it down into what I call our colleges are like neighborhoods. There's great food, usually at most of the colleges, and different staff there to help support the educational and out of classroom experience for students. Each college also has its own student life program, and that is also grounded in the mission and philosophy of the college. And then also there's a lot of opportunities for involvement, whether that be your college council, student orgs at the college or the university level. And we really work to create a sense of inclusion at the institution. So we want you to feel like this is home, this is where you belong, and you are going to have a great experience while you're here. On the next session, we're going to talk a little bit, next slide, we're going to move on to talk about the advantages of a college system. Again, this makes it easier for students to make friends and feel connected to the university. It makes it so that you can connect with your staff members at the institution. So you'll know your academic advisors, you'll know your dean of student affairs, you'll know many of the other staff members at the college. So we're here to be a home base for you. We help, I call us sort of a one-stop shop. We help problem solve and identify different resources for you so that you can have the best experience possible here at UCSD. We also make it possible for you to develop those individual relationships, both with advising staff and other staff, but also help you to build those relationships with your peers within the college as well. This helps to really create a more personalized experience at a large research university, which is not always the typical experience at our larger research institutions. A little bit more about the overview of the college. There's an organizational chart that I'm going to show you here. The head of the college is called the provost of the college. The provost is an important academic leader. We'll talk a little bit more about that in the next slide. But we have also a director of the writing program who oversees the academic experience in the college. The provost also oversees the dean of academic advising. So you may have already met some of your academic advisors or been interacting with them. Then there's also the dean of student affairs, which is the role that Sherry and I inhabit. And we oversee the student affairs and residential life staffs. We also work closely with our counseling and psychological services team, which is what we call CAPS here at UCSD. And we work together to help build a really cohesive experience for students at UCSD and within your college. So what is a provost, since that's the head of the college? The provosts are tenured faculty members of the institution. Many of them have 20, 30 years of experience teaching. So they really do understand the academic side of the house. They serve as the administrative leader of their college. They manage the educational and business affairs of the institution, and they help supervise the other college leaders. So I report to a provost as well, and we work very closely to ensure that our students are well taken care of. They also work with the college's faculty committee, who oversee the curriculum of the college. These curriculums are very intentionally planned. So when you choose a college, you're choosing that curriculum, and it's really a fantastic experience because of the hard work that that faculty committee does. And then they also oversee the programs and activities of college life. Really, they are the folks who are very interested in the student experience and want to make the very best of the experience for students. I'm going to turn it over to Sherry now to talk a little bit more about student affairs.
All right. So, student affairs, we're really committed to supporting and enhancing your out of class experience at UC San Diego within your college. We understand, as Josh said, the challenges of navigating a large research institution such as UCSD, and we really work to connect you to resources to assist you so you can achieve the academic goals that you've set for yourself coming in. We really want you to engage during your time at UCSD. We know as transfers, often you feel pressure because you just have a couple years. So, trying to help you make the most of that time. And we in the colleges provide services, resources, leadership development opportunities, activities, events that we hope help to enhance the student experience and your student engagement at the university. Next slide. So just to give you a sense of how we're structured, and there are some differences from college to college, but we're pretty much the same. Josh and I are two of the 8 deans of student affairs at UCSD. We have then reporting up to us an assistant dean of student affairs. They really oversee the programs that you'll interact with most commonly. So, our coordinator of student activities, our senior new student program specialist, that's a really fancy title for the person who does orientation and all of the transition work. We have a program assistant that supports us, a coordinator to the dean. They're the people that help us manage our calendars and stay on top of things and make sure we're supporting you. We do have residence life staff that report up to us in the college. So each college has anywhere from 1,200 to 2,000 students who live with us. Typically, as transfers, you'll live in upper division housing with other transfer students. There's a possibility you may be placed in your college, but typically we try to house transfers together. So you wouldn't necessarily interface with the residence life staff in the college, but we do work very closely with the residence life staff in our upper division and transfer housing to make sure you're supported. And then most of the colleges have a student care and accountability specialist, and there's someone that really works closely with the dean to make sure that students are supported. Next slide. So, some opportunities for engagement and involvement within the college. Because sometimes transfers, I think the colleges are like, oh, they're just GE and advising, but we really want you to be part of your college. So we do offer activities within the college, and especially during the beginning of the fall quarter, during something called Weeks of Welcome, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But we also offer events and activities throughout the year. Um, we have student organizations within our college, and I think just about every college does have a transfer and commuter or transfer and commuter separate organizations for you to connect with. So if you're living off campus, you're commuting, that can be an opportunity to get to know other students who also are commuting and then transfer. We also in each college have our own student government or college council, and we do have a variety of positions that are open. So if you've done student government in the past, or if you haven't and you're just curious about it, I encourage you to check us out because almost all of the college councils will be selecting applications and appointing new members in the fall. We all have transfer reps, so reps that are there to listen to the needs of transfer students in our college and to support them. We also just about all have commuter reps. We have a variety of different ways to get involved, both volunteer positions and paid positions. So volunteer positions can include things like helping with our Weeks of Welcome programming. We have college boards and committees to plan signature events. Several of the colleges have community gardens that you can volunteer in, whatever really is of interest to you. And then paid positions vary from college to college, but orientation leaders, residence life office assistants, resident assistants, peer advisors, design interns. To go back to the college activities, just to give you a sense of the sorts of things that we have, well, no, student organizations, sorry about that. Uh, Really the gamut. So we have student initiated programming that does programs for other students. We have judicial board. We have groups that are focused on writing. We have groups that are focused on crocheting. And even though they're specific to a college, those groups are open to students across colleges. So if you're not a Muir student, but you're really into crocheting, you're welcome to join the Muir org that focuses on that. All right, next slide. In terms of opportunities to engage, activities, different things going on, there are a couple ways that you can stay in touch with your college. So we all have presence on Instagram, on social media, and we all have weekly email newsletters that go out to students. The cadence might be a little different. I think for some colleges, they might be monthly instead of weekly, but we will regularly push information out, and then many of us do have our own event calendar. So if you are a Warren student and you want to know what's going on in Warren, you can check the events calendar. But again, as I said, your college is meant to be your home, but you are not limited to just your college. So all students really are welcome to attend activities and events and participate in orgs across all of the colleges. Next slide, please. All right. Wanted to take a little bit of time to just talk about the beginning of the school year because there's a lot going on that you may have questions about. So first and foremost, orientation. Your orientation is primarily going to be with your college, and our orientation programs are mandatory. It's really broken out into three components, and students are expected to do all of them. So the first is orientation part one, and that's coming up very soon. That will be in the next few weeks, and that's going to be online. That's going to prepare you to register for classes. So you will have some time to connect with advising staff, with orientation leaders, any questions that you have, you'll have space to ask there. Once you've completed orientation part one, then we have Canvas orientation courses. We have a course in each college, so that will be released to you. And that's asynchronous. You'll be able to go through that on your own time at your own pace. And that's really to help you learn about resources both in your college and across campus. You're going to have access to that Canvas orientation course throughout your first year, because we know at the beginning of the year, it's information overload. You learn so much and you hear so much, and it's hard to remember it all. So that's going to be a resource that you can go back to throughout your first year at UC San Diego, actually throughout your time at UC San Diego, to access that information. And then finally, you'll have orientation part two. That's going to be in person. That's going to be between September 17th and September 24th. So you'll sign up for a session. Those run anywhere from like 5 to 8 hours. And those really are designed to help you get to know college staff, to meet and socialize with other incoming students. You'll learn about your specific college community and what's unique and what's available to you there. And then you'll also have an opportunity with your orientation leaders to tour the campus and get familiar. So that's orientation. If you do have questions about any of that, just a quick reminder, the Q&A feature, you can always pop questions in there and we'll answer those in real time. And we also have time at the end to answer questions verbally. You may also have other orientation sessions that you'll be invited to attend. So your academic department, if you're a chemistry major, they may do a chemistry orientation. If you're a student athlete, there definitely will be an orientation. If you're an international student, ISEO will have a specific orientation for you. But really keep an eye out. You should already be hearing from your college with information, and you'll be signing up for orientation sessions soon. If you're living on campus, you will move in, and again, move in will start on Wednesday, September 17th. You will hear about where you're going to be living, who you're going to be living with in late August. You'll sign up for a move-in time at that time. And again, you'll primarily be living as transfers in transfer and upper division housing with other transfer students. It's suite style, apartment style living. So you have shared common areas, shared kitchen, shared bathrooms, and then um, some of it you have shared bedrooms in Pepper Canyon West. You'll have your own bedroom. Triton Weeks of Welcome will also be happening. So that really is meant to encompass all of the things around the beginning of the year. So orientation, move in. Each college will have weeks of welcome programming. Often we'll have involvement fairs, mixers. There will also be campus-wide programming. So we'll have some fun stuff like an Olympics. It's a competition between the colleges where we all try to win the cup of cheer. There will be some like concert and sort of large event things that will be happening. And then we'll have something called Words of Welcome. We'll have a picnic where you'll have an opportunity to connect with faculty and with departments. One thing I want to talk about just quickly is we're weird with the quarter system. We have something called week zero. So you're going to move in, you're going to go through orientation, but that first couple days of that first week, you won't have classes. So classes don't start until Thursday, September 25th. So if you have a Monday, Wednesday, Friday class, you won't go to class for the first time during that week 0 until um, Friday. If you have a Tuesday, Thursday class, you won't go until Thursday. And the reason we do that is because during fall break around the Thanksgiving holiday, you have Thursday, Friday off. So we start on a Thursday, Friday to make up for that. So it's a really weird thing, but just know you don't have to worry about physically going to class until September 25th. All right, next slide. So this is a lot of words on a slide. I am not going to talk about all of them. I just thought it might be helpful for you to have context. As deans of student affairs, what do we do? What are we responsible for? And it really is that co-curricular experience in the college, including Res Life, organizations and leadership opportunities, student government, judicial affairs, community development, blah, blah, blah. So I'm just going to leave this as a resource for you, and we'll keep going because I have a sort of more simplified version that breaks it down. Next slide. Okay, so what really does the Dean of Student Affairs do? Um, we try to make sure that you have that community, that holistic out of class experience within our college. We provide support for students in our college, and we're going to talk about that a bunch in just a few minutes because that really is a big part of what we do. We do have oversight of academic integrity and student conduct within our college. We do have central campus academic integrity office, a student conduct office, which is SAGE, the Center for Student Accountability, Growth and Education. But in terms of if a student is accused of violating academic integrity or student conduct, often you'll meet with staff in the college. We also help out with things like conduct clearances, dean certification requests. So if you're going to be doing a study abroad program and you need a conduct clearance, we help with that. Once you've graduated, if you are applying to law school, to medical school, if you need a dean certification, we also help with that. So we're here for you when you're students. We're also here for you and to help you when you're alumni. Crisis management and emergency response. So if something happens within our college, if we have um, let's see, a flood in a building or something happens, we respond. If we have something larger on campus, we respond to that. We also are here when things happen in the world that impact you as students. So just to prepare you, we will often do outreach if something big is going on. So when the fires were happening in the LA and Pasadena area last year, we were pulling lists of students with home addresses in that area, those areas, and reaching out just to check in, like, hey, it's your Dean of Student Affairs. Just want to see how you're doing. Want to remind you that we're here to support you. So know that you'll sometimes hear from us, and then we're helping if something big happens on campus. Like recently, we had a power outage that took the entire campus offline for 4 or 5 hours. So we're working through things like that. Our job as deans is really to advocate for students to share the student voice in a variety of spaces across campus. And all of the deans serve on committees where we're focused on the student experience and making sure that we're being as student-centered as possible. And then other duties is assigned. When weird stuff happens, when things come up, when people aren't quite sure where to put things, that often will fall to the Dean of Student Affairs. Next slide. So how do we support you? So if something's going on, we will meet with you or someone on our student affairs team will meet with you to talk about what's going on, concerns you may have, and to come up with an action plan. We will make referrals and connect students to campus resources. We have a lot of resources on this campus, but they can be overwhelming and they can be hard to navigate. So I always tell students, if you don't know where to start or you're not quite sure where else to go, you can come to your Dean of Student Affairs. You can also reach out to the Trenton Transfer Hub. They're a resource like that as well. And when they're not sure, they reach out to us. So we're really in constant communication with a lot of campus partners. And what we try to do is we pride ourselves on being more high touch. We will not just tell you, oh, go to this office. We will try to connect you to an actual person in the office. We'll check to make sure it's the right place that can help you before we send you there. I already talked a little bit about the proactive outreach. So, when there are natural disasters, when there are crises, when there's something big going on, both on our campus or in the world, it's not uncommon to get an email from your dean just checking in. If there is something significant going on and you need some flexibility around classes and you're not able to reach out to your professors yourself, say you've been in an accident and you're in the hospital, we can reach out to professors for you to request flexibility for a while as you're recovering. So we can ask them to be flexible around attendance or around deadlines. Um, we work very closely with advising to make sure that you know what academic options are available. And then if you have something that's a little bigger that you need some ongoing support, we reach out to our partners in student affairs case management and can connect you with a student affairs case manager who can check in with you regularly and help you if you need help finding mental health providers, if you need help navigating campus resources, if you are struggling with financial concerns or basic needs, right? We can pull in case management. So really trying to create a support network for you. Next slide. So what sort of things do we help with? We hope that nothing bad ever happens to you during your time at UC San Diego, but the reality is sometimes not so great things do happen. So if you get sick, if you get mono that's going to take you out for a couple weeks, we can help support you through that if you're in an accident or injured. Um, I will make a plug here on injury. If you ride a skateboard, if you ride a scooter, if you ride a bike, please wear a helmet because there's a lot of people moving on our campus and it's not uncommon for us to have uh, some devices or devices versus pedestrian things happening on, especially early in the fall. If you lose a close friend, if you lose a family member, if you experience something traumatic, if you have some mental or physical health stuff that you're bringing with you, or if things develop while you're here, if you're struggling with basic needs, having a hard time with stable housing, you're couch surfing, you're skipping meals, you are having a difficulty trying to pay your tuition or your rent or be able to afford copays to see a therapist, whatever it is, we can help with that. Impacts of local, domestic, international events. And then, as I said before, if you're having a hard time navigating campus resources, we really are here to help you with that. All right, next slide. We work closely with really campus partners across the campus, including our Basic Needs Hub, Counseling and Psychological Services, Financial Aid and Scholarships Office, International Services and Engagement Office, Office for Students with Disabilities, Student Affairs Case Management, which I've mentioned, Student Health Services, Triton Core, and then advising. So not an all-inclusive list, but we really have worked hard to nurture relationships so that way when we are referring students again, we can give you accurate information. We can get you connected with a person who can help you. Next slide. So what does support look like? Just to walk you through a couple examples. So if you are in, say, a scooter or skateboard accident on campus and you're taken to the hospital, if police are involved, they'll actually notify us. So you might get a text or an email from your dean like, hey, I heard that you went to the hospital. What can I do to support you? So we'll reach out to you to check in, see what you might need. Again, if it's midterm season and you have a concussion, we can reach out to your professors, try to get you some flexibility, or say you've um, torn some ligaments in your knee and you're going to have some hard time walking around, you're going to be on crutches for a while, we can get you connected with the Office for Students with Disability and get you set up with Triton Transit Mobility, which is our cart service to help you navigate the campus. If it's something that's going to take more time, we can make sure to get you connected with OSD, or the Office for Students with Disabilities, to get longer term accommodations in place. If you were going to have a surgery and some follow-up and need help navigating the medical stuff, we can get you connected with the social worker and student health services. If you're not quite sure how to deal with the medical bills from your hospital visit, we can get you connected with the Basic Needs Hub or with financial aid to help you figure out how to pay for those medical costs if you're eligible for a basic needs emergency grant or financial aid add-on. And then if you really just need to step back from classes, we can make sure that you're connected with advising and know all of your options, be it incomplete grades, late withdrawals, part-time status, taking time away from school. If you reach out, or if someone reaches out on your behalf to share that you just lost a parent or a spouse or a grandparent or someone close to you, what can we do? Again, we'll reach out to see what you need. If you need help getting in touch with faculty, we can do that. If you need help figuring out academic options, depending on the timing, we can do that. If it's helpful to get connected to a counselor, to a grief group, we can get you connected with counseling and psychological services. If you're an international student and you need to return home and you're trying to figure out how to navigate things, we can get you connected with the International Services and Engagement Office to make sure that everything is good. And then if you, going back to something I mentioned earlier, are just trying to figure out how to make things work, if you're not sure how you're going to be able to pay your rent, or if you're having a hard time affording food or medication, or um, uh, your parents, something has imploded with your family, if you're getting some support from them and you're not going to get that anymore, whatever it might be. Again, we or someone on our team will follow up with you, see what would be most helpful for you. We can get you connected with basic needs or with student affairs case management for an intake appointment. We can see if you're eligible for a basic needs emergency grant. We can get you connected with a person in the financial aid and scholarships office to talk through options. Next slide. So here's how you can reach us. These are the deans of student affairs for each of the 8 colleges. And honestly, one of the easiest ways to get in touch with us is to just send us an email. So I am going to pause there and see what questions you have. So please, if you have any questions, drop them in the Q&A, and I will invite Josh back to see if there's anything I missed that he'd like to add while you're working on questions.
No, Sherry, you did an excellent job. You covered all the points that I would have covered. So this was fantastic. As I mentioned in one of my answers to the question in the Q&A was a little bit about our email addresses, and those were on the screen there. So go ahead and grab that. Elizabeth, would you mind going back to that just in case there were some questions around how do you apply for student government? So each college council is a little bit different. And if you really, really want to know what positions might be available or what that timeline might look like, do feel free to reach out to your Dean of Student Affairs if you want to be ahead of that game, or just keep an eye out. Our social media and newsletters typically have that information in the fall when it's the appropriate time for that to happen. And it does look like we have a couple of questions popping into the chat now. So let's see here. We've got are classes specific to colleges? Sherry, do you want me to take that one?
Sure.
Okay. So classes are specific to colleges in terms of the general education requirements. So typically each college has a writing program and they will administer that writing program. So that might be at 7th College, that's going to be our synthesis program. And so there's general education requirements there. And then the general education requirements also are across the university. So Seventh College says you have to take 3 humanities courses, for example. Those classes are offered by other schools at UCSD, which the schools are your discipline focused program. So that's how that kind of works. So you have your writing program administered by your college, and then the rest of the classes are taught by the schools. And then you have to work with advising to make sure that the classes you're taking fill the degree requirements. Sherry, did I say that correctly?
You did say that correctly. And then I see there also is a question about how orientation is billed. So orientation fee is applied to your fall bill. If for some reason you're not able to come or participate in orientation, you can work with us to get that removed, but it would just automatically be placed on your bill for fall, and it's a one-time fee that you would just pay that fall quarter. All right. I see a question. Besides college GE, is there another GE requirement for graduation? So that's going to be your general education requirements are going to be specific to your college. So I'll redrop that link in the chat to new student advising. If you have questions about that, the best way to get those questions answered is you can reach out to our advising team through something called the Virtual Advising Center, and all of the information is going to be on that page. There is another question. I've been waiting on 2 important updates, the retrieval of my already sent transcripts and the reveal of my housing situation. Josh and I aren't going to be your people on transcripts. That's going to be advising can help you with that. Admissions can help you with that. Josh, you want to talk about when housing information will go out?
Certainly. So my understanding is that most housing assignments will go out at the end of August. You want to keep an eye on the RRSS, which is our Residential and Retail Services website. They may update that as time moves forward, but generally speaking, that comes out at the end of August. Okay.
All right. I see a question. I have an hour-long orientation this Friday on campus. Would that be a good day to stop by the Dean of Student Affairs office? Or will the office be closed until the start of fall classes? I would say it's going to depend on your college. Staff do have a little more flexibility during the summer, so we do have more staff that are working remote. At Revelle, for instance, we're available in person to see students Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So I would say check the website for your college. And if you're not quite sure what the website is, here's my pro tip. I don't try to find it on the UCSD website. I just go to Google and I type 6th UCSD or 7th UCSD or Revelle UCSD, and that will get you to the page. And usually there's a contact or an hours, and you can find out what hours the office will be open. I will say if there's something that would be helpful to you, if you know that you might need some support coming in the fall, please do reach out to your Dean of Student Affairs now. You can reach out to us during the summer. If we're not available in person, we can set up a time to connect by phone or by Zoom and talk through what might be helpful to you. All right. Here is another question. I'm not sure if this applies to this STEP session, but where can I learn more about student clubs and events hosted by them?
Yeah, I can answer this one. So the Center for Student Life, they have that's where all like the clubs and orgs are housed under. And there is a list online, and I believe their URL is csi.ucsd.edu.
I
And
just
you
dropped
can,
it into your chat.
perfect. Okay, there it is. Easy. But yeah, you can definitely look through all the orgs. There are clubs and events for like anything. If you're into crafting, there's a Costco club. There's honor societies, there's like clubs that are related to your major, to a career path. So yeah, put in some keywords and stuff, and there's so many. And then usually the first couple of weeks of the fall quarter, you'll see a lot of clubs tabling out on campus so that you can learn more about them, talk to some members, and then they'll likely have like either a QR code or flyers for you, if you're interested and want to join one of their first like meetings or something. So, good question.
And then I dropped a couple links in the chat in terms of during the school year, how you can find out what's going on. University centers, they have an events calendar that college events, campus events, org events are posted to. And then I also drop below it the TWOW events calendar, and that's the Triton Weeks of Welcome. So those are going to be all of those programs that will be happening during those first couple weeks of the quarter.
Perfect. Yeah, definitely a lot happening the first few weeks of the fall quarter. It's exciting.
There's never a shortage of things to do on this campus, so you're going to have a great time. It's going to be a matter of choosing where you spend your time and what you do with it.
Yep.
All right. Any other
Okay.
questions?
Yeah, I think this was one of our shorter sessions, but yeah, I think you had a great presentation, answered a lot of my questions too. So yeah, I think if there's no other question, I'm gonna go ahead and stop sharing. And I see somebody raising their hand. Um, and you can submit a question to our Q&A. Unfortunately, we cannot mute you because we're in like webinar view. Oh, okay. I just saw that person submit another question. And then I have a question, but we will get to that. How important is the calculus requirement in Ravel?
Oh, I would say that would be a great question for advising. Our faculty, Josh talked about the provost, and they work with our faculty on the curriculum. Our faculty at Ravel are very invested in calculus, but there are lots of different ways to fulfill that requirement, including before you come in. So I would say reach out to Ravel Advising and connect with them, and they can help you with that.
Awesome. Okay, and I have a question. College orientation deadlines. Any last like when is the deadline for students or transfer students?
Question. Oh, I don't remember it off the top of my head. I apologize.
It is in 2 days. I believe it is July 25th is the
Yes.
deadline for orientation.
It sure is. So you'll want to register for orientation by Friday, July 25th. So check your email. You should have an email from your college with the link with all the information. If you don't have it, you can let us know, and we can help make sure to get that information to you.
Sorry, my camera is being a little silly, but I had just dropped a link in the chat. If you scroll to the very bottom of that page that I linked, it should list out all the orientations for each college. If I linked it correct, hopefully there's no 404s, but that can also provide you some specific information for each college. But just wanted to drop that because the deadline is coming up, but it's a good thing
It's a good
to
reminder.
know about.
Yeah, good reminder. And then we have
And while we're dropping links, I'm going to do one more for those who will be living on campus. I'm going to put the link with all of the important deadlines related to housing, just so you can bookmark that and refer back to it.
awesome. Yeah, I think that's definitely helpful.
Okay, I see a question. How do we reschedule our orientation date if there's a scheduling conflict with our move-in date? Um, so you can go about it one of two ways. You can check to see if there's any flexibility around your move-in date, because there can be an opportunity to potentially reschedule that. If not, then you can reach out to orientation to see what's possible. Um, Colleges handle orientation a little bit differently. Some, like Ravel, we do specific transfer orientations where we put you with other transfer students. We try to group you by major so you can make connections. Some colleges will just have all new students together. So with those colleges, there may be a little more flexibility. With those colleges that do specific transfer sessions, there may be a little less flexibility, but you can reach out to us and we can help you try to figure it out if there's a conflict. Anything to add, Josh?
No, I think that's exactly right. But there's one more question that popped up, which is to study abroad, what would we need from our deans of student affairs? So generally speaking, for us, it's really the program that you're applying to will ask for usually some conduct test history. So we'll work with that office to provide that. But I would also advise you to work with your college advising staff to make sure that you're able to fit all of this into your program of study. And so I would say plan ahead. If you're thinking that you want to study abroad next year or even this year, you want to make sure that you're working with your advising team so that you're making the best moves possible so that you're able to maximize your opportunities with that program. Anything else that folks want to ask? Do you happen to know if Roosevelt does a transfer only orientation? I don't know for certain, but I believe.
It looks like Allie put something in the chat. It looks like it's a yes.
Yes. There we go.
There you
Yep.
go. Nice.
Perfect. Well done, Allie. I like that internet sleuthing skill.
Lovely. All right.
And then I wanted to just share one more thing that's sort of a cool thing. If you're thinking about studying abroad, but you're worried about the timing of taking a semester or a quarter to study abroad, we have something called global seminars, where you can get credit. Many of them in the colleges are tied to our writing program, so you can get credit for classes. Others are tied to majors. So I'm going to just drop that information. It's going to be the 2025 global seminars, but it will give you a sense of what we do. And those are 5-week programs during the summer. So it's a nice opportunity to take some classes in another country.
Great recommendation, Jerry.
Yes, I feel like that's such a nice like little segue or plug to our future webinar on August 8th. We'll briefly be going over the different study abroad programs because there's year-long ones for the summer, quarterly, so we're on the same wavelength. So yeah, little plug for STEP. Cool. Right. I think those are about it for our questions. Thank you both so much for a great presentation, and thanks everybody else for tuning in. I hope it was helpful.
Great chatting with you all. Have a great day.
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
We look forward to seeing you in the fall.
All right. Thank you both so much. Bye, everybody.